Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is part 5 of our lecture. And in part 1, we deal with risk and return of a single investment. Part 2, we did that of portfolio investment. In part 3, we looked at efficient frontier. In part 4, we looked at the valuation of individual security in a portfolio. That is the capital asset pricing model. In this part, we are going to be looking at the security market line, that is plotting the using different security to plot a graph, a straight line for the CAPM model. The security market line is a line or graph on a graph that shows the relationship between risk as measured by beta and the required rate of return on individual security. In market equilibrium, the required rate of return on a stock is normally equal to its expected return, that is, all stock will lie on the security market line. So security market line, since we said it's a graph of CAPM, so it's an extension of the CAPM model. So it's the visual representation of the CAPM model. If you can recall, this is our CAPM model. The required return on an asset is equal to the risk-free rate plus the market risk premium multiplied by the asset beta. So the representation of this, if you look at this is a linear equation. That is, when we plot the graph for different value of beta and return, we are going to get a straight line, and that straight line is what we refer to as the security market line. So if you look at this, like I explained earlier, this is risk-free rate, this is the required rate of return on the market. So the difference between that and risk-free rate is the market risk premium, and if you multiply the market risk premium by the beta of the individual security, become the stock or the individual stock risk premium. Let's make an assumption and see. Assuming we have a risk-free rate of 5%, the market return of required return of 12%. Our market risk premium is going to be 12% minus 7%, and when we multiply that by the beta is individual stock risk premium. So the security market line for this assumption will now be equals to the risk-free rate, which is 5%, plus the difference between this, which is the market risk premium, multiplied by beta. So once you subtract 12%, once you subtract 12% this from this will give you this value here, the 7% which we have here. So that makes our line to be 5% plus 7% multiplied by the beta. So if our beta is equals to 0, that means the security is risk-free. So definitely the required rate of return is going to be equal to the risk-free rate. So when you plug in this value and put the beta of 0, so it will make the market risk premium to be equals to 0, which we can see here. So it makes the return on the stock to be equals to 5%, which is equals to the 5%, the risk-free rate. If our beta is equals to 1, which is the same as the market beta, so if we plug it in, the 7 times 1, then the individual security risk premium, the individual stock risk premium will be the same as that of the market, which is 12%. 12 required rate of return will be equals to 12%. So if we add this to the 7% here, we are going to get the 12%. So those are some extreme cases. If beta is less than 1, is less than the market risk premium, so the value that we are going to get is going to be the risk premium of the stock is going to be half of 1, which is 3.5%. So our required rate of return will be 8.5%. If beta is double that of the market, 2 is equals to 2. So the individual stock risk premium will be double that of the market, which is 14%. So when you add it to the 5%, we are going to get 19%. So we should note that as this is important. It is important to note that as the risk increases, return also increases, to show the risk aversion characteristic which we have mentioned in our previous lecture. So let's take a quiz and see how we can construct the security market line. So if we take those our assumption, so and we have stock, riskless stock, the beta is equals to 0, stock A 0.5, and up to stock F with this beta. So if we construct the return equation, if beta is equals to 0, we plug in, we'll get our required rate of return to be 5%, which is this from our Excel. We'll go to Excel to see how we have done this. If we plug in the value of beta 0.5, we have 8.5%, which is this. So like that, if you plug in the beta equals to 1, you have 12%. Beta equals to 1.5, we have 15.5%. Beta equals to 2, we have 19%. Beta equals to 1.45, we have 15.15%. We see that as beta, which is the measure of systematic risk, increases, so the required rate of return also increases. So for all the volume, let's go to our Excel to see how we computed all this. So here we are in our Excel. This is the question. So the return of the market is 12%, risk-free rate is 5%. The difference between that, this minus this, then we have 7%. So let's use our equation 5% plus 7% multiplied by this to get our value for the return. So this will be equals to 5%, the risk-free rate plus the risk premium multiplied by the beta. So we have 5%. I'll put it in edit mode so that we'll log this. So this is F4. We'll log this also, F4, so that when we are copying it down, this will not move. It will only move this way. So we'll copy it down. So this is how we got the value. Now to construct our security market line, all we do is we highlight these two columns. We go to insert, we go to XY scatter. So we select. So I'll select the one with line. So I'll select this. So you can see this is our security market line. The risk-free rate is 5%. The risk-free rate is 5%, which is here. So this 1% at beta equals to 1, which is market beta. This is the market portfolio. So you trace it here, the return is 12%, which is here. So let's go to our PowerPoint to see the clean copy, the one I have worked on. Now here we are on our PowerPoint. If you look at this is our security market line. So this line I draw is to show us that between here and here is our risk-free rate, which is 5%. You can see here is 5%. Now the security market line, all the stocks are lying on this line. So in an equilibrium, all the assets must lie on this line. So asset can lie above or below it. It will show whether that asset is undervalued or overvalued, which we are going to explain later. So if you compare this to our value, this is what we got from the line. Now, what do we normally use the security market line for? We use it for asset pricing. So, like I stated earlier, I said in market equilibrium, the required rate of return and the expected return are equal. That is, all the value will lie on the security market line. The security market line can be used to determine the price of an asset given the beta compared to the market. So you can see we plug it using the beta. Now, if an asset is plotted above the security market line, it means that asset is underpriced. Let's go back to our line. Now, this is our line. This asset is above. Now, this is the expected return. This is the required return. Here, we can see for a given level of beta, which is the risk beta of 1, this security is supposed to be earning 12%, but is earning above that. You understand? So it means this security, since the value is above, this security is undervalued. So you can know whether security is undervalued when the value of the expected return is greater than our required return, which is the cap M. So you can see the value for this stock here, the return is somewhere here, is higher than the value that is on the equivalent value on the stock market line, which is supposed to earn. Now, if an asset is plotted below the security market line, it shows that that asset is overpriced. So let's go back also to our security market line. You can see the asset K and G, they are below the security market line. It shows that this asset required rate of return is less than 8% instead of 12% at 1 beta value. The risk is 1, but instead of earning 12% required return, it is giving us a return that is lower, which if we say maybe is at 8%. So this shows that this asset is overvalued. So conclusively, I said if an asset is above, it is undervalued. That is, the expected return is greater than the cap M. The cap M return is the one on this line. Then if it is less than, you can see this asset K and G, they are less than what is on this. So we say it is overvalued. And if it is equal to, it shows that it's lying on this line, then we say it is valued correctly. So that is how we use the security market line to determine asset price. So we can also use the security market line to classify security as either defensive or aggressive security. If you look, these are security market line, hypothetical security market line. You can see this is the market portfolio, the portfolio that the stock that the beta value is 1.0. Now every every stock that has a beta below 1, they are defensive security. That is, the investor is risk averse. But any beta that is above that of the market is aggressive. So it shows that when the market move, these stocks will move more than the market, either positively or negatively. So we can use the security market line to classify asset as either defensive or aggressive. So let's take some example and solve and conclude the lecture on this security market line. So a portfolio consists of the following stock. Determine the value of stock if the risk-free rate is this and this is the market return is 12%. So these are the stock, this is the weight, this is the beta, this is the expected return. So we are going to calculate the SML value to know the CAPM, to know whether this security is overvalued or undervalued. So let's go to our Excel first. Let's go to our Excel first to see how these computations are done. So here we are in our Excel. If we use this the way we did earlier, this is equals to 5%. We lock it plus 7%. We also lock it plus 7%, lock it, times our beta is this one, enter. This is for stock A. So we copy it down, double click, we have copied it down. So for each of them, let's check and see whether it captured it well. Capture it well. The last one, edit mode, it captured it well. Now if you see the first one, this is the value on this market line. This value is equals to the expected return. So that means the stock is valued correctly. That is what is written here. If you look at the value here, this is 12%. This is less than the expected return. This is the expected return. This is above the security market line. Then it shows that it's undervalued. Let's go back to our security market line to recall what we said about the security market line again. So you can see this value, the return is above the return of this. So that is why it's undervalued. If we come back to our result, this is our result. So we can see this is the one on the line. This value is above this, is undervalued. This value is below this, is overvalued. This value is above this, is below this, is overvalued. This value is above this, that is undervalued, and this value is equals to this. That is why we say it's valued correctly. Now the second question which we have so this is the explanation, which I said we calculate the CAPM for each of the stock and compare it. So we have done the comparison. Now the second question for this portfolio, what is the expected return and risk? If it is it overvalued or not? So we have to compute the expected return of a portfolio. If you can recall, to compute the expected return of the portfolio, we multiply the individual return by their weights. So let's go to our question on Excel. So here we are on our Excel. If you look, we have our beta, then we have our weight here. So when we multiply the beta times the weight and we add it together, we'll get the return of the portfolio. So this is equals to weight times the beta, enter, run it down, that is the value, then we add it, alt equal to add it, so alt equal weight times return. Okay, there is a mistake, I will do it again, let me delete it. Is weight times the return equals to weight multiplied by the return. This is the return, enter, so send it down, so that is the value, then we add it, sum, alt equal, enter. So this is our expected return of the portfolio. Now to get the expected risk of a portfolio, we say we multiply the weight times the beta of the individual security. So we come here, this is equals to weight multiply by the beta, enter, so copy it down, that is the value, then we sum it, alt equal, enter, this is our beta, so of the portfolio, this is the beta of the portfolio. Now here, let's calculate the return using our CAPM model for the portfolio. So this is equals to, we have 5% plus 7% times the return times the beta of the portfolio, which is this, enter. Now if you look, this is the return of the portfolio using the CAPM model. Now if we compare this with the return, with this return, we can see that this value is less than this. So that is why we said this is undervalued. This is an undervalued portfolio. So these are the way we solve this. I have explained them here in our slides. So we use this formula to calculate the return of the portfolio. We use this to calculate the beta, which we have done in our previous lecture. Then the expected return is 14.8% if we do this and add them, and the beta is this, which we have done in the Excel. So if we use the SML and you plug those values in, so we'll have it as 13.21%. so we'll compare this with this. So when we compare, we see that this is greater than this. It shows that the portfolio is undervalued. So this is the end of our lecture on security market line. If you are enjoying our lecture, you can kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to get any lecture that we drop. Also, you like the video and make observation on anything, you comment on anything you want us to improve on in our subsequent video. So thank you very much.